You are the greatest authority in your own life, and your path does not have to make sense to anyone else in order for it to be true, right, beautiful. In fact, it is highly likely that your path and your inner knowing and your intuition and you being your own authority will not make sense to a lot of people. And it may not make sense and it may not sit well with people who really love you and people in your family and maybe friends and maybe social network and work contacts and all the things. And people don't disagree with you because they want to necessarily just disagree with you for the sake of it. Some people are like that. Some people might be obstinate and want to get in your way. But a lot of the time, people just think their way's the right way. They have their views and they think their views are the truth. And they think the experiences they've had are the facts of life. And if it's true for them, then it's true for you. Or they think they know best, particularly if they love you, because they want to help you and they want to protect you. And other times, sometimes it's just because people don't like someone walking their own way. They want you to walk the way everyone else is walking. They want you to fit in. They want you to belong. They want you to colour inside the lines. They want you to fit your square peg in the round hole. And, you are the greatest authority in your own life. And it is not just uncomfortable for other people, but guess what? It's actually really uncomfortable for our own selves sometimes to get used to the fact that what gives life to you is infinitely intelligent. Life principle, the life force that runs creation, is pumping your heart, is breathing you, is embedded in every single little beautiful cell inside the trillions of cells of your body, doing everything perfectly every day without you asking, brought you onto the planet, made you into a whole grown human being, sustains you to live with air you can breathe and water you can drink and food you can eat, and has you be here on this life. And if that's in you, it's part of you. And that is the greatest intelligence that there is. It made you and it's in you and it's helping to operate you. And when you start to realize this about yourself, and you realize it in a not, I know what's right for me, and you're just using your logical thinking mind and you're just trying to bravado and ego your way through the world. But you go, oh, I am my greatest authority in my life. I do know what is right for me. I am right and good to trust myself. It is okay to trust my inner knowing above and beyond what people around me are telling me. It is right and good to lean into my intuition and my inner knowing and the way I feel inside over and above what society is selling me. And if it looks like my path diverges the road less travelled, and if it looks like my path is vastly different to anyone else that I see around me, then will I think I'm crazy or will I trust my intuitive knowing? Now, I know one thing. I was not born to live inside a box. I was not born to follow along what everyone else is doing. I will do that if it feels good to me, and I will do that if I think it's right and true. But I won't do it just because it's the thing to do. And I think that's actually seeded in everybody. I don't think that's a personality trait. I think that is something stirring in us because I wasn't like that as a child. As a child, I would follow the rules. I'd be the one that would follow the most ridiculous rule. Like if there was a rule and it had no reason and it was just the stupidest rule, I would follow the rule to make sure that I followed the rule. To colour inside the lines, to stay inside the box. And I truly believe that inside all of us is the seed of infinite intelligence that is saying to us, you are here to colour in whatever way you colour, with whatever colour you want, to paint your world the way that you want, to fill it with magic, to sprinkle it with stardust, to walk or dance or hop or skip or move your way through life in whatever way feels good to you. And if that path is A to Z linear, great. And if it is a wobbly line, great. And if it is a crazy circle of lines that are going all over the place and you are on some weaving journey, then great. But when you listen to this inner compass, it's going to take you on the greatest hero's journey that is possible for you in this lifetime. If you do not listen to that and you make external sources your authority, something will always feel off. It will always feel a little bit like you're not living the life you're here to live. You're not listening to yourself. You're feeling a little bit suffocated. You feel a little bit lacking vitality, a little bit lacking life force, because there's a part of you that wants to bust out and be free, because that's the nature, right? You don't want to put a bird in a cage, because why do birds have wings? They're designed to fly. So it's like connecting in with this part of yourself. And so I think it's also really interesting to notice for yourself, how much do you feel like you're the greatest authority in your own life? Or do you cellularly, intuitively know that, but you're not really living it? And then have compassionate curiosity for that, like I did when I realized this. And it's like, oh yeah, of course I don't listen to myself, because all these things in my upbringing or in society have trained me to be a good little girl or a good little boy or a rule follower or a whatever it is. And so I have disowned my intelligence inside of me, and I have abandoned my knowing, and I've just kind of fit in the mold because it felt right and safe and it didn't rock the boat. So, you know, as you come into like an awareness and you grow into this desire to be your own leader, to lead your own life, to choose for yourself. And maybe your choices give you the same life as everyone around you, but you chose it for yourself. If you choose a certain career path and maybe other people around you do that, or you choose a lifestyle and maybe other people around you do that, it doesn't matter if other people are doing it or not doing it. The point is you chose it, and you chose it because it felt right for you and it felt good for you. It's not about breaking rules for the sake of breaking rules. It's not about taking the divergent path for the sake of taking a divergent path. It's about, did I choose from my own authority inside of me, my own sovereignty, what it is that I want and am choosing for my life? Or have I defaulted? And if I've defaulted, love and compassion for myself for why I did that. And then how might I be more true to myself? Now, what will happen is you'll bump up against the edges of all your fears and all your conditioned limiting beliefs and all the nervous system ouchiness that we get, the squirmy squishiness, when we go to stretch into this kind of expanded version that is in us and is like, hey guys, the comfort zone's too small to fit me. I'm about to bust out. Things are about to get uncomfortable, because you don't want to shrink yourself to fit the box that you might have been living in. You want to expand the box to fit your greatness. You want to expand the life you're in to fit the size of your greatness, the size of your power, the size of your vision, and the size of the intelligent life force that's inside of you. Because it made creation. It likes to play. And who knows what might come out if you give it breathing room and space. So many other things come off the edges of this conversation, like, well, if I just choose what's right for me, then my partner's not going to like it, or my parents are going to be unhappy about that, or it will mean I'll have to give up this in order to do that. Yeah, yep, all true, right? All things that could factually be true, all things we have to face when we're like, I'm breaking this egg from the inside out. You know, there's a saying, if an egg is broken from the outside, life dies. But if an egg is broken from the inside, life begins. And I almost want to cry saying that, because I remember reading that. And when I was feeling really stuck in my life, what I call my old life, I felt guilty and selfish because I had this beautiful life on paper and I didn't feel happy. I felt empty. I kept saying, what's wrong with me? And I think if I'd stayed in that life, I think I would have quietly died inside. And something, I think the life force intelligence inside of me, because I don't think it was much of my own conscious mind, I felt so compelled to break out and become the authority of my own life. And to trust all the nudges and the urges that I had inside of me for growth and change, and to follow my curiosities. I was having a spiritual awakening. It seemed so kooky and weird, and it was so divergent to everything that was going on around me. I started making radical life choices that were completely the opposite of what everything that I had kind of witnessed growing up. And as I started to do that, that was like breaking the egg from the inside. That is truly when life kind of began for me. I feel like I was pretty asleep up until that point, and it was still beautiful, and I had a good life, and I'm extremely grateful for it. And also life vitality increased dramatically when I broke out of the egg on the inside. And that doesn't mean it's easy, because I know if you're listening to this and you're like, some of the clients I've been working with recently, and they're like, well, I want to do this, but actually my family's not about it. And it is going to rock the boat a bit if I listen to the authority of my own self and choose for myself. Or, you know, my parents wanted me to go down this path and I have, and I'm not happy, and here's what I'm thinking I need to change and do. Or whatever it might be. Then it can be confronting. It can be confronting because it often involves going into territory which is uncertain. There may not be role models for what and who you want to be in the world that you naturally are in your current circle. But I'll tell you this, the more you break out into saying, I'm going to lead my life, I'm going to lead my life. I am going to lead my life. I am not going to have my family dictate my life. I'm not having my partner dictate my life. I'm not having the government dictate my life. I'm not having social media, for goodness sake, dictate my life. I'm not having any of these outside sources dictate my life. I'm going to choose for myself. If you do that and you are surrounded by people who aren't living that way, what happens is you can't see examples around you as a guide, as a guiding force, as a yardstick, as a measurement, as something to show you what it looks like. So if you're thinking, I'm going to start to be the authority in my own life, I'm going to start to lead my life for myself, and it feels really uncomfortable because you don't have people around you that have ever role modeled that, or maybe anyone that supports that, I just encourage you to connect in with people. You can connect with me here in the comments below the vid. You can email me, support@bernadettelogue.com. Join in with groups, be around people, gravitate toward people, surround yourself with people, even if it's online, that represent that for you. Not to go their path, go your own path, but around people who have chosen their own path while you're choosing your own path. Because what it does is it shows you it's possible, it's healthy, it's vibrant, it's good. When I started living this way, more attuned to an inner compass, I met my dearest, sweetest soul sister, who is like a sister to me, Patricia, and I met her maybe like 18 months into, I think it was about 18 months into my spiritual awakening, maybe less than that. And we've been besties ever since. So it was a long time ago, it was like 14 years ago. And she was this for me. She led her own life. She treated herself as the greatest authority in her own life. She listened to the divine infinite intelligence within her, the universal intelligence all around her and within her to guide her on her path. And I looked at her and I was like, oh, there's one other person that I know. And I knew there would be lots of people on the planet that were the authority of their own life, but I couldn't see anyone doing anything kind of divergent that had like the courage or the balls to do it. And I was like, oh, am I crazy? And I just remember witnessing her and being like, oh, I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy, and it is okay to do this, and it is safe to do this, and it is vibrant to do this. And it was just beautiful to witness someone be free-spirited in themselves and to honor the knowingness inside themselves. And guess what? For me, for her, for everyone else, it does not mean that when you trust your own authority and you listen to your intuition that you know exactly what's going to happen, or that you've got it all together, or that it's going to go to your plan, right? They say we make plans and God laughs, the universe laughs. But we have to lead from the position of, I'm in a co-creative relationship with divine intelligence inside of me and all around me. And if I don't stand up and lead my life, then who's leading me? And of course, if you're spiritual or religious, you know that who's leading me is, you might call it any number of things: divine intelligence inside me, around me, universe, one mind, God, creator consciousness, the Holy Spirit, Yes, and we are in a co-creative relationship with that, our partnership with that. But if you're not coming from that position and you don't feel like the leader in your own life, then the question is, who is the leader of your life if you're not? Who's at the helm of the ship? Who's driving the car? And I know for many years I was just like, well, I don't want to lead because I don't know. And how could I know what's right? So I'm just going to like follow along. And that's fine. And that led to some great stuff, great career, good things, great things. But did not lead to happiness, did not lead to inner freedom, did not lead to soul alignment, did not lead to vitality. And so all I ask you to do today is to notice what one thing resonates or rings true for you. And if you were to curiously lean into that, one question to pose to yourself, one question to maybe ask your own heart, or one area of your life where you feel like you need to be more of a leader of yourself, or even this, is there a person or a group of people in your life where you feel like you have let them be the authority for you and you've abandoned yourself in the process? And what might it look like if you were to reclaim your power, activate your power to be the leader of your own life? In a really safe way, just in a gentle way, just with a little small step. No grand having to like throw your hands up in the air and change everything. Just to start to create a little spaciousness where we don't have to lean onto or be submissive to or follow along others when actually there's something inside that's saying, hey, would you just listen to me? Because I might know. And that's not the ego, and it's not the mind, it's not the conscious thinking mind, it's not your data bank of stuff that you've learned through your life today. That thing that's inside of you that's saying, hey, listen, that is the infinite intelligence, that's the intuition, that's the sixth sense, the non-3D, the non-physical you. You could call that higher self, soulful self. You can call it anything you want, but it is not of your thinking mind. It's not born of your past experiences. It's got nothing to do with your intellect or where you've been or what you're doing or what you've got. It is the intelligence inside of you that's beyond this world, wanting to help you stand up in your life to be your soulful full self. So it's been a pleasure to be here with you having this conversation. I would love for it to be a conversation rather than a video. So if you're up for that, drop me a comment below and let me know. What did this hit the nerve of? What did this raise in you? Have you been here, done that? Are you living your life this way? Do you feel a calling to it? What's going on? I'd love to connect and hear from you. You're also welcome to email me anytime you want to reach out, support@bernadettelogue.com. I do my best to read every email and I do my very best to reply to every email. Stick with me if you reach out and I promise to try to get back to you as soon as possible. If you're interested in working with me one-on-one, you're going to find links below this video. I have spaces open in my private coaching, transformation life coaching and spiritual mentorship. Also, if you're interested, I have my new program, Activate Your Power, changing the 5 layers within yourself, shifting you powerfully into the creator you were born to be, psychologically, emotionally, energetically, behaviorally, and multidimensionally, so that you can level up your life in love, joy, health, wealth. I'm excited to share that with you. You can find the link below to join the waitlist for the next intake of that. Otherwise, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification, and I look forward to seeing you in the next vid.